Hey everyone, I'm Kim with Abundant Life Tarot. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Mystery Mystic Monday. And we are covering the case of Marilyne Chamberlain. And I want to thank my dear viewer, Tia Pickerel, for recommending Marilyne's case to me to do a reading and go do some further exploration as to the energy surrounding her disappearance. So thank you so much, Tia, for that. Marilyne was 65 years old at the time of her disappearance in 1998, November 1998. And her case is still unsolved. The police do suspect foul play, and they have not released a lot of information at all about what leads them to believe that. And obviously, there's been really no suspects that have come to light. I would imagine if there were, we would have heard about them by now. So I definitely want to raise awareness about Marilyne's case. She was 65 years old at the time. I presume she may have been retired from her job as a federal employee, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But my mom is 65 years old, the same age that Marilyne was at the time of her disappearance. And I know that, God forbid, if something happened to my mom, I would want people to be looking for her and seeing what happened. And Marilyne's disappearance did happen pre-social media. So, her loved ones, friends, they didn't have social media to be able to jump on and share about their loved ones, share about the disappearance and the call out to the community to help. They didn't have that, but we have it now. So if you hear of this case, share the video or share the article I'm going to link in the description box. Also, any other cold cases, you definitely want to keep pushing that story to the forefront. Law enforcement, I know they have a lot on their plate, but cold cases are just as important as new cases. And, Marilyne deserves to have her story told, as well as answers to come forth, especially if something happened to her that was harmful, violent. She deserves justice. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and dive into this reading. And I'm going to first share with you what came up in the pre-reading. We'll do the Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle reading, followed by the 6 to 8 questions that I ask in the Tarot and Oracle reading. So I do hope you stay tuned. Thank you for watching thus far. All right, let's get to it. All right, guys, so we're now going to talk about my pre-reading. So first up, I wanted to get an understanding of maybe some nearby landmarks of where she was last, or what she last remembers. And these would be landmarks within 3 to 5 miles from where she's at, and that would be known to her, known to the locals who live there. And the cards that jumped were university, convenience store, salon, and flower shop. And when I thought about it, I was like, I don't know too much about the East Coast, to be honest, but I kind of recall like the University of Maryland being kind of near the border of DC. And the only reason I know that is because my husband went there a few years back on business. And anywho, so I was like, wow, okay, so the university card could indicate location, a nearby landmark. It could be what she knows to say to let people know of where it may have occurred. Perhaps the people who have had something to do with her disappearance work at a convenience store or a salon nearby, or maybe there's a salon on one corner and a convenience store across the street, or maybe there's all in this one area. There's the university, the convenience store, the salon, and a flower shop, like a well-known flower shop that she enjoyed seeing, or maybe even purchasing flowers there. Or this also could represent that someone who may have had a hand in her disappearance worked there at the time. Maybe they loitered in that area, and witnesses at these particular locations in this small vicinity could maybe recall seeing something that day. Okay, so that's what I'm picking up on with regards to it. I also want to share, while we're looking at this image, I did do a like not a channeling session, but I just meditated for a moment and dropped and anchored into what Marilyne may have remembered about her day, okay? And what came up to me was her being at a train stop, going onto a train, and smelling the smells that you smell when you get on a metro train. You know, the smoky kind of metallic-y smell. Maybe it's from smog. The fuel smell. The smell of the cushions, the seats once you get onto the train. I could just smell that. I could feel like she was used to it and that she actually almost enjoyed that. And then also hearing the squealing of the wheels as they got ready to move, you know, the train wheels on the train tracks, and hearing, you know, the sound of the train in motion, and seeing people it's like at commute time. But there's this sense of all eyes on me. Like, I kept hearing that in my mind, all eyes on me. And then feeling this kind of almost not fear, but like this stricken of all eyes on me. Maybe it's like a rambunctious like group of friends or people who are on the train moving towards her and causing a ruckus. Okay, and I'm sensing that maybe they have been with her at the train stop and got on the train, and all eyes are these folks' eyes from this group. And I'm picking up on that strongly. So that's what's coming up for me in the pre-reading. I couldn't get much more than that from her, but then the next part of the reading kind of picks up where this one leaves off. All right, so now we are moving on to the next part of the pre-reading. And I shuffled the cards from the Lightseer's Tarot and just asked, you know, what I need your current physical state, or what happened, Marilyne. In the best way you can reveal to me what happened, let me know. And we got the Hermit, the Page of Wands, the Four of Wands, the Knight of Swords, the Five of Wands, and Death and Rebirth. And these are the cards that jumped. So right off the bat, I'm getting a sense that she has crossed over with the Death card, okay? The Hermit is that she got on this train alone. She was alone. There was a young group of rambunctious folks that got on the train and causing trouble, wanting to cause trouble. There's one in particular who's really young, late teens, like 17, 18, 19, and with an older folks. And they were just causing trouble. And they did have their eyes on her, like they wanted trouble. And she maybe even said something like, cut that out or something like that. And that's how the attention got drawn to her. And so as they're moving forward on this train, there's someone plotting and someone who has something to prove, okay? Someone who has something to prove with this Page of Wands. So she gets off at her train stop and she's walking. And this is somewhere that she walks and is used to walking every day. But her intuition, her instincts were heightened because of what had happened on the train, dealing with this young, rambunctious group. They get off, and next thing you know, she can hear some kind of commotion behind her, and someone attacks her from behind. That's what I'm seeing here with the Knight of Swords and the Five of Wands. She falls, and someone panics and decides to hurt her and fears that because of the time that this happened, it was like maybe evening going into dusk, that someone would see her, and this group moved her with this Knight of Swords. They moved her. They hurt her. They moved her. And then they continue on hurting her, okay? And the Death Rebirth card, the Death card represents the time period of October 21st to November 20th. That is around the time of her disappearance. And this is also indicating when she crossed over, okay? So she is conveying to me that it was a surprise attack, that this was... she didn't know them, but I sensed that one of them in the group has seen her before, she's a creature of habit, and they live in this vicinity. They live near there. They might work near there. They've seen her. And they harbor shame and guilt about what has happened. Okay, so now we're going to delve into the rest of the reading, but I wanted to do that first and try something new to see if I can gather more information, more definitive information about what may have happened to her, as well as what current state she's in, because that helps me with this cold case to shape what kind of questions to ask for the tarot and oracle reading. All right, let's get started. All right, everyone. So now we are here at the Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle reading, and we're going to just go ahead and shuffle. This is for Marilyne Chamberlain. She's 65 at the time of her disappearance. Spirit, can you give us some insights about her disappearance? Anything you wish to share with us about what may have happened? We thank you. We got broom, frog, okay, wall. What's this one? Hag. Oh my goodness, I gotta chill. And any of you who have watched my videos in the past, who have watched me work with the Mildred Payne, you know when the hag comes up, it's not favorable, okay? And we'll see if there's anything else that Spirit wishes to share, and then I'm gonna zoom in. Oh my goodness, and I got another chill, the crow. Okay, all right, I'm going to set my little Mildred Payne little deck over, and I'm going to now, trying to zoom in. Sorry for that, you guys. Showing you my finger. Trying to zoom in a little bit tighter so you guys can see that a little bit better. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. I'm looking at it here on my screen. Okay. All right, I'm going to use this tonight, my wand. So we've got the broom card, all right? So we've got the broom, the frog, the wall, and the hag, and the crow. And so with the broom card, so here's what's going on here. Marilyne was on her way to handle errands that day. Okay, and that's no secret. It was mentioned that she was going to the bank. She went to the credit union and handled her transactions. and getting her affairs in order. I was trying to pick up, and maybe it'll come up in the tarot and oracle reading that we'll do in a moment. I was trying to pick up, did she do a major withdrawal from her bank account? Does she have a large amount of cash? What may have made her a target, etc. But this is speaking to her getting some affairs in order, her running her errands. She was using public transportation to make those errands happen. Now, this card, one of the associated meanings to it is a sexual encounter. Okay, so keep that in mind as well. And that's not to say that she was, sexually assaulted or anything, but there is a possibility of that with the broom card. And this happening and occurring on the time that she was handling her business, okay, with that. So then we have number 57, the frog card. This is about encountering a frog, encountering an unpleasant experience. And we talked about that in the pre-reading, like something happened on the train that just was very jarring to her, unpleasant. This card is representing a sense of strong disappointment with something or someone, the behavior of someone acting unbecoming of themselves. And that's what I'm picking up here. This card is also, one of the associated meanings is transformation. So bear that in mind when you're looking at all of the card meanings there. All right. So with Marilyne, there was something about her experience on the day of her disappearance that was off-putting, disappointing, almost disgusting with this frog card, okay? Maybe some kind of lewd act she saw. Maybe she witnessed something. Maybe she witnessed somebody doing something to someone else, saying something to someone else as she's on the train, as she's moving about, right? So I see that coming up. And then we have the wall card. The wall card is about obstacles. And I just instantly got just this feeling of someone standing in her way, someone blocking her, someone preventing her from, moving forward, separating her from her path, like interfering with her movement. This is about her also maintaining boundaries and saying, you're not going to disrespect me. Okay, with this frog card and hag card sitting here. This also could speak to a physical location of where maybe clues are or where maybe something happened. Something happened near a tall wall as she's leaving, as she's leaving that train stop that she gets off. Maybe she felt even compelled to get off at a stop earlier than what she would normally get off. Maybe she gets off at one stop, and then because it just was getting too much on this train ride, she gets off, and this person or people I'm sensing from the pre-reading, they follow her. Okay, I say that because of the hag card. The hag card's literal meanings are fears, nightmares, bizarre or malicious encounters. Okay, so that's the reason why I'm saying there was something that happened on that train ride, and I sense that she stood up for somebody or herself, or maybe both, and it brought all eyes on her, like it said in the previous part of the reading. Like at first I started thinking about the Tupac song, All Eyes on Me. Like, was that playing? Was somebody rapping that? Like, what was that about? But I then started to realize it was probably meaning that she was feeling like all the eyes were on her. Okay, so that's what I'm picking up on there. And then we have finally the Crow card. The Crow card is about an omen of bad news. Okay. It's also about moving from one place to another, from moving from place to place, and it represents criminal activity. These are the keywords that are associated with this card. And that is alarming because that's telling me that whatever happened here, she was faced with some sort of criminal activity, some sort of attack, an omen of bad news. The police got some information to let them know. Maybe there was some evidence that was left on the train. Maybe they spoke to people who talked about this malicious encounter, but they're not giving up that information to protect the integrity of the investigation. Moving from place to place, she was moving on the train, but she was also maybe in motion on foot, trying to get to her home, and they moved her. This criminal element moved her. A gang, a pack of just heathens is what I'm picking up on. All right, I'm going to now pause, take a picture of the Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle reading, and then we're going to move on to our questions portion. All right, I'll be right back. All right, everyone. So you're probably wondering, why are all the cards on the table? Well, let me tell you why. I shuffled, went through every single question. Okay. And I listened back at the audio, and there was some kind of odd noise that was in the audio. And I'm like, I can't give this to you guys. But I did want to keep these cards. I didn't move them because I wanted to discuss with you what came up during this reading. I'm so bummed, but it is what it is. You all know I work with jumping cards. So I'm just going to go through what came up during the questions. And hopefully this time this recording makes it. Okay. Otherwise, I'll take it as a sign that I need to start over with this part of the reading. But let's get started. So move my decks here. I'm going to bring my notebook to my lap. So I wanted to know more about the energies surrounding Marilyne's disappearance. And the cards that came up were bald, family, out of town, money, and the Hierophant. And so when you see the family card, you might instantly think, oh, this is speaking to a family. This is a family connection. And what ended up coming up for me throughout the reading, and it was actually quite interesting, is that I was picking up on there could have been like family connections amongst this group. I'm sensing that the group size is anywhere from like 3 to 4 people, with like 2 main people who were involved in her disappearance. The person who is like the ringleader is bald. And yeah, I'm going to use my wand to point here. Bald. They may even feel like identify as gang members or feel, you know how gang members feel very close, like a family. So there's that. There's also a sense that one of the persons that was involved in this situation, in this whole melee that happened on the train, that was just causing Marilyne to want to get off the train even, was that there may have been a connection with someone who she may have known in passing. Maybe this, and I'm picking up as a female. I'm picking up a female who may have dated or has close ties, or maybe even be a sister to this bald person. And that she lives in the area that Marilyne often frequented. Maybe she worked or was at the salon that Marilyne goes to. Perhaps she works at that convenience store. Maybe she shops there frequently when Marilyne is there. Or, you know, Marilyne has seen this woman on frequent occasions to the point where, you know, they might be quite familiar. Whereas the rest of the members of this group is from out of town. Okay, this out of town card could also speak to Marilyne, them taking Marilyne outside of her neighborhood, outside of her town. She was out of her, town, out of her area where she lives. Could be something to that effect. But what had come up very strongly for me was that this group they come from out of town, maybe from another hood, from somewhere else, and they come to this college area to prey on people. Like maybe they are even known to the police to prey on people who are either elderly or they think are easy targets, or students of the university, or just people that they like to think that they can take advantage of, that are easy targets to get what they want. What do they want? They want money. I sense that this female who I'm picking up on here, that maybe Marilyne might have seen from time to time, may have even recognized Marilyne, may have even known that she might even go to the bank on a regular day of the week. Like, Marilyne is a creature of habit. Like, she goes to the bank on this day, she does this on this day, and like, people who live near her or know that about her. So this woman, this young girl, because all of them are young, and I'll tell you why in a moment when I get over here. All of these people are young, but this young woman, she knew that pattern. She knew that Marilyne worked as a federal employee with this Hierophant card, okay? She was a federal government employee, a former federal employee. They don't know, the police didn't release whether or not Marilyne was retired at the time, but they just said she was a former federal employee. She also went to the bank. These are about institutions that could have played a role in her disappearance. This information could have been known. And so family, some people could say, oh, well, maybe it's a cousin, maybe it's a family member of Marilyne's. Could be. That is a possibility. But what I'm picking up on is that it was a family affair that was targeting her, and maybe had been targeting her. And it wasn't necessarily just a crime of opportunity. There was some element of her being targeted. It could even be someone maybe that she started to build a rapport and trust with. And I'm sensing is that female. I'm sensing out of all the folks who were part of the group, she was the one that knows this town, perhaps seen Marilyne, perhaps even knows Marilyne, and was kind of the one that mentioned this and kind of got the ball rolling with this bald man. Okay, so that's what I'm picking up on here. So then I asked, what were the energies surrounding what happened to Marilyne? And then we've got cell phone, which I thought was interesting, loss, karmic partner, perchance to dream, bank, and today for tomorrow. Now, cell phones, I had a cell phone, I believe, in 1999. So I know they were around, but I don't think that's what the cell phone card is speaking to. Let me pick it up and show you. I don't think that's what this card is speaking to. This card is speaking to people being chatty, running at the mouth, conveying information, that was unpleasant to her, something of value. This card means something of value. Cell phones are very valuable, valuable information, a valuable item that was lost, okay? That was lost. That was taken, something of value. She could have had her jewelry taken. She could, I think the reason why the authorities know something may have happened to her is because they knew what type of transactions that occurred at the bank. This card, when it jumped, I wish you guys could have watched it. I prefer when I have actually show you the cards that jump out at each question, but here we are. I didn't want to also reshuffle and redo the reading over, so this is what we get. But the bank card affirms for me that someone could have even targeted her back then, and it could have just appeared to Marilyne, because Marilyne kept conveying to me that all eyes on me, they were just annoying me from the time I was walking down to the train stop or, to getting on the train. I didn't even try to get off at the stop or two before my regular stop on the train, and they followed me. They just, they wouldn't leave me alone. They were threatening to take something of value from me. They did something to me. Karmic partner, this card speaks to this card really spoke to me when I first did this part of the reading. It was telling me that it was fated. This was a fated encounter. Like, it was this group was actually not going to be in the area, but then maybe the female says something about she knows something and they wanted to have a come up on money or on, they wanted to just take a chance and go that day. Or it could have been that they were supposed to do one thing, but somebody ended up bailing and they end up saying, okay, well, we're just going to go ahead and do this today. We're going to go ride the trains to this town, to Marilyne, and by the school and see what we can get, how many licks we can get, or something to that effect. So it was a karmic, fated thing that happened. And the same is said about Marilyne. Marilyne was probably on her usual normal routine. And it could have been something where, she may not have even seen them that day, but she had to go to a different bank, or she had to go to a different ATM, or not an ATM, but a different route than she normally does. Or she had to do one more thing before she was done for the day, one more errand that she normally didn't do, and she normally would be at home during this time. So it was a fated connection. This is also speaking to the fact that there is a couple dynamic. There's a dynamic of someone being in a relationship and really following like the orders of someone, like the female following the orders of this bald man and trying to please him, and then we got this ticking time bomb. Like, that's what I mean by it being fated. Like, it all like came together. Like, and the reason I had said that or felt that is because we had today for tomorrow. Like, one of the people involved in the group was like, can we do, let's do that tomorrow. And somebody was like, no, let's do it today. Let's get this done. I want to do this today. Let's get it done. And this could be also Marilyne not wanting to put off one more errand, one more thing to do, and it just led to this fated meetup on the train, okay? And what happened to her definitely was an element of monetary gain with this bank card. Perchance to dream, whenever I see this card, this is speaking to someone causing someone else to dream. When I see the two people, this person holding them, this person could either be holding you up or pushing you down. You don't really know, right? And so I'm sensing that as a result of trying to take up something valuable, something was lost, her life was lost. She's been search for, she's missing Marilyne. Someone caused this, perchance to dream. So that's what I picked up there. Then I was asking, well, who did this to her? Who caused her disappearance? So then we got over here. The friends card had jumped, but the first card that had jumped was the con man card. And I was just like, this is someone who cons. When they say a con man will con, this is something that they do. This person or these persons are young. They are young. And I picked up on that with the Page of Wands card, as well as the Knight of Swords. Like, there's an older influence, this bald man, like he's in his 20s, maybe early 30s, but everybody else was young in this crew. The woman maybe who is involved maybe even favors this woman, or it says a square-shaped face. Maybe the man could be the one who has a square-shaped face, but I sense that this is representing the female energies that I've been picking up throughout this whole reading for Marilyne, even in the cards that jumped in the pre-reading, okay? Even those cards that jumped were dark-haired females in the Four of Wands, in the Page of Wands. There was another card I can't remember that this comes up a lot. So it's what is speaking to me. And I feel like with this nicely dressed card, they like to take people's nice things for themselves. That's where that con man element is coming in. Also, they could have targeted Marilyne even further because they saw that she had a nice watch on, or she had a nice purse or handbag, or she was dressed nice. And they were like, okay, she's a target. And this girl, this woman knew or has seen her before, knows her pattern, knows her routine that she does. So I sense that this group could have been some notorious in the area at the time, and the police may have known with this karmic partner card, they may have known that this group may have been in the area at the time. They knew what areas that Marilyne was traveling, but they had no way to really connect this group to her. But they know of them, and I'll tell you why in a moment, why I got confirmation of that in this reading. So then I moved on to what did they do to her? What did they do to her? So we got buried, we got mother, we got the R word, they, could have raped her. We got greedy. So this is telling me that after this bald man, I'm really strongly sensing a bald man and maybe some other young, impressionable male did something to her. They hurt her. Even though she's like a mother to them, a grandmother figure to them, with this mother card, this almost even looks like, with this mother card, like they're, almost like a buried kind of area, and the hands are reached out like, how could you do this? The R card comes up and it's saying that there was some sort of sexual encounter where they, and this female or the group seen it, knew of it, and they are heartless for not saying anything and bringing attention to it or turning the culprits in. Because, at that point, they could have still had clean hands and turned in this individual. But because of their loyalty to this person and to this group, they did not. And also greedy. They took what they could from her. After they buried her, they took what they could from her. And that's what this card could also mean as well. This R card, rape card. They took from her. They were greedy. They took her things. They stole from her. So now we move on to what happened to her body, or where is she at now? And we got the chapel card. And I thought when this card jumped, I was like, this is spirit, like saying, okay, this is clearly her crossing over, her making her transition. That came up with the pre-reading with the death card, right? This confirms that something happened near the train station. The forest card jumped. So this is telling me that after whatever vicious hag encounter, because remember, where's my wand? Remember the Mildred Payne all the way over here, that hag card? This is telling me after that occurred, the forest card is saying that there's some sort of area not too far away from the train station that she got off at to get away from them. Like she got off, like I sense that the police probably did check the train route, the metro route that she was on, that line, that train line. I sense that they probably checked the stop that she normally gets off on, the stop that they, the beginning stop, or where they think she may have gotten on. But maybe it became too much to check every single stop to see. But there's an area, maybe it's a park, that's near this particular, the train station, and I'm picking up from her that she, over and over again, that she got off before her normal stop. She got off, she was trying to be smart about that. And she got off, and where the vicious attack happened and where they buried her is somewhere in a park area. It looks like for her, it feels like a forest area, but it's probably a park near this particular metro station, okay? They either buried her or elements of her, or evidence, of her in that area. Okay, so that's what I'm picking up on. This could also, this chapel card, when I look at this also could speak to maybe there is a nearby church. I asked when I did this reading for a more specific landmark that might really represent or point us to where she could really last remember. I know she gave us the general vicinity, because at first I asked for the first part of the pre-reading where this may have taken place. Like, can you give us within a 3 to 5 mile radius, and can you give us some major landmarks? And so she did. She gave us the university. She gave us, and I'm assuming that's the University of Maryland. And then she gave us that it's near a well-known flower shop, and that there is a convenience store that she would go to and patronize, and that there's a salon maybe on the corner or something like that. And that where she was taken and what she last remembers, and maybe she even said a prayer even, was at a church or a chapel that was near this station. But the railroad tracks also confirms about what happened on the train, that somewhere the train station, the train tracks, etc., has something to do with where she's at. Finally, I asked, what came of these suspects? Where are they? What are they doing? And the card, even before I could finish the question, you guys, the card that jumped was the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups jumped. This is them walking away, and I hate to say it, getting away with what they've done, here. And they didn't necessarily come out unscathed. I'll talk about the daughter card in a moment, but the cards that were interesting to me was the Judge card that jumped and jail. So a couple of them may be in jail at this time, or maybe had a long stint in prison. They faced a judge, but not for this, but for something else. No one's really officially confessed or even owned up to what happened to Marilyne. They just are walking away from it. There is some remorse. There is some feelings of guilt surrounding walking away and getting away with this. Primarily with this daughter card, I'm picking up that the daughter card is speaking to that female who harbors the most guilt about her role in it and what she's seen and what she did not report. And it has been weighing on her so much, in fact, that her life wasn't that great with the Swamp card. None of their lives, none of these characters, these suspects' lives were great after what happened to Marilyne. Like almost immediately, some of them went to jail for other crimes, because the cups represents that fast-moving energy. Within days, some of them, within 8 days, some of them went on to jail. But now, several years later, some of them might still be in prison. Some of them might have crossed over, been deceased. And one of them, who is still alive and well, is watching, looking, seeing if Marilyne's story ever comes up. See, this person is lucky because social media wasn't really around in 1998. And, Marilyne's case went cold before social media became a thing. So this person feels like, okay, I have that on my side. But there's a part of this person that wished that justice did come about, because she feels like she needs to atone for what her role was in this situation. Okay? And that is what I'm coming up on. Oh, and the investigator card spoke of them knowing a lot of these pieces, but just not having enough evidence to link, not having enough evidence to really connect everything to Marilyne's disappearance, not being able to find her, not being able to find exactly what happened, knowing that probably money was tied to it, greedy, knowing that something happened to her. She was a creature of habit. People attested to that over and over again. And that she wouldn't just up and disappear and leave. Something had to have happened to her. There were probably witnesses who gave and conveyed information about what happened on the train, the malicious encounter on the train, her, and is she getting off? But they don't maybe know the fact that she got off 1 to 2 stops ahead is what she's telling me. I got off early. I got off before my normal stop, so they wouldn't know where I live and where I'm at or what I do, or that I just got off early. I was tired of them. And so I don't know how far in the investigator understands or knows that. So you guys, I pray that this recorded, because it'll make me sad if I have to record this once again. The next video we will do, I will make sure that the mic is all working and good operation, and because we're going to be doing a doozy of a case in the next one. So I want to make sure that the recorder is recording. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching. I know this was a lot. This was heavy, and it was actually really heavy the first time I recorded it, where I was some of the cards coming up, catching my breath, and just really having a hard time with this, knowing that they buried her and hurt her, and walked away from this. And some of them are completely fine, like this bald ringleader is completely fine with the fact that he walked away. But he didn't, life wasn't grand for him. I at least get some comfort in that. But they got away with something. Something definitely happened to her. And I'm just praying for Marilyne, peace for Marilyne, justice for Marilyne, answers for those who care about her and who still think about her to this day and still hope that they hear something or hear something. So anyways, you guys, do me a favor, hit the like button on your way out of the video. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe. More content is coming. Like I mentioned before, I have another case I'm going to be working on. I do take breaks from, a week on, a week off, a week on, a week off to, allow myself a little bit of space between these readings because they are heavy. I do go and, channel and work with the person who is missing if they will allow that, energetically speaking. And it's a lot. So, but I love it. I am so honored to do this work, and I'm so honored to be able to continue to hone this skill with you all. So let me know your insights, your thoughts, your impressions, your intuitive hits surrounding this case. Do you know this case? Comment down below, even if you don't know, what came up for you when I was discussing the cards that came up. What came up for you with the Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle reading or the pre-reading? What do you think? Check out my pinned comment. I usually put some notes there about some additional insights that come up. Especially I might do a map review of the area just to see if I can pinpoint any further clarity on where she might be or where all this may have taken place, etc. So, and also, don't forget to let me know of any cases you wish for me to explore in the future. You can leave them in the comments section below, or you can email me at mysterymysticmondays@gmail.com. And as long as my spirit guides and ancestors are cool with it, I will do the reading, okay? But I do consult them first before I say yes. Because sometimes, I need their guidance and their foresight before I move forward. All right, for real this time, you guys. Much love. So many blessings to all of you. Please take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.